What's going on? I'm Marcus here at the channel The Debt Free Dad, where we're following my financial journey and talking finances along the way. In today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about the FIRE movement and some of the things that really don't make me that big of a fan or proponent of the FIRE movement. Hey, I'm not dissing the FIRE movement. Hey, if people can retire early, I want them to retire early. But these are just some of the things I think about and that kind of cross my mind that just kind of, you know, don't make the fire movement per se too exciting. There's a bunch of pros, but there's also some cons. I'm gonna talk about some of the cons because I think we all know the pros. I mean, everybody talk about fire and going, being financially free and being able to go to work and slap the shit out your boss and kick the coffee pot over, then just storm out without a care in the world. But we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the factors that I think you should consider before you make that full dive into the fire movement as is defined. Now, there's a billion fire movements out there. Uh, Fat fire, barista fire. I'm not even going to explain all of those because it's too many for me to explain. Y'all can definitely find those out from your favorite YouTubers if you go. Your favorite YouTubers, unless your favorite YouTuber is me, because I'm not doing a video on it. But you can definitely find that out by going on YouTube and doing a search to search up the different types of fire. As always, before we dive into this video, I got to throw the disclaimer out there. I'm a licensed attorney. I'm not your attorney. I'm not a financial advisor. So you aren't getting any financial or legal advice over here. I'm just giving you my opinion and letting you know what's going on in the household of the debt free dad. So, hey, it's that time of year. It's time for Thanksgiving. Even though we should be grateful every day that we actually have a chance to breathe and open our eyes, but hey, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So I hope everybody, before we jump in, I hope everybody can enjoy their family, enjoy their time, and just reflect back on the progress that you made just during your journey, whether it's a financial journey, a fitness journey, a self-development journey, or even if you just, hey, I haven't been able to make any progress, but I've stayed consistently in the same place. It takes a lot of effort to maintain the status quo or to maintain a certain pace in the race. The race isn't given to the swift; it's given to the person that endured to the end. And sometimes you just gotta buy your time, holding your position in fifth place till you can make your move to get to the front. Now, let's talk about fire. So, the first thing with this whole fire thing that, for me is a con to the fire movement is most people, and I don't know if y'all know that, but statistically, most people in the workforce are going to make the most amount of money that they're going to make in their career between the ages of 44 to 56. So, with that being said, one big negative for me, to retire early, especially during that period where I could maximize my income because of my experience, that when you're in that 44 to 56 range, you're at that right position where you aren't ancient, but you have a lot of experience and it'll be valued in that field. And so for me, fire prior to the age of 55 wouldn't make sense to me because I think that's a prime opportunity where I could capitalize and maximize my income because that's a person's greatest income is earned between the ages of 44 to 56. Also, let's take into consideration 8 years from now, before I hit age 50, both of my kids will, my youngest will be 18. My oldest, presumably, God willing, will be out of undergraduate school and in his career. Or if he doesn't go to undergrad school, at least he'll be establishing himself in his career. And so, that's a prime opportunity to not have the little crumb snatchers actually in the house annoying you, even though you still have to, hey, those the kids. So you're still going to have expenses that you incur. But kids aren't under the same roof as you are. They're kind of establishing their own career path and what they want to do with their life. And you're in that age bracket. I'll be in that age bracket where I'm at that position in my life and career where I'm making statistically the maximum amount of money that I'll make in my career. So that's kind of reason number one why the fire movement for me isn't the most exciting thing, especially if I do it before the age of 55 or 56. It's just too much money to be made in my career during those peak earning years. In addition to that, a lot of people don't realize. And I've actually looked at the data points on this. I actually read an article about a gentleman who started the fire journey, and 2 or 3 years later, he actually wanted to, go back into the workforce, and it was hard for him to find a position at that same pay that he was at when he left. So this gentleman retired at like 42, and he was out 3 or 4 years. So you're thinking 45, 46, he wanted to come back into the workforce, but because of that absence, he wasn't able to demand the same salary or salary that would have been commensurate with what he was making when he was 42, when he, said, "Hey, I'm retiring," and called it quits. So he didn't have that opportunity. He kind of regretted not being able to capitalize on those years where he would have made his highest income from his actual employment. Also, the other thing you got to consider is with the fire movement, the other thing is I feel like there's a negativity that's placed on actual employment. I understand that, you hear these statistics all the time. The average millionaire has 7 streams of income. And just keep it 100, be honest. Everybody not designed to have 7 or 5 or 27 damn streams of income. It's just not the case. Some people will have their job that they work. Some people will have a job, a side hustle. Some people have a job, a side hustle, their investments, maybe some real estate. It'll be different ways that people achieve, their financial independence. So that whole 7, 8 streams of income for the average millionaire, we have to be realistic when we talk about fire movement. Because if you look at a lot of people out there who say, "Hey, I retired early," just because they retired early from the career that they were at does not mean that they aren't working. A lot of times they are content creators, they are managers of real estate. They have a lot of other jobs that they do full time. So just because you're in the fire movement, that's kind of point number two. Just because you're in the fire movement and you're like, "Hey, I can't wait to retire from this job," and you tell them to kiss your ass and you walk out and leave, that doesn't mean that you aren't going to pursue another career after you retire from job number one or career number one. So that's kind of point number two. So, me, I don't like to get caught up in the you know, W-2 shaming. I don't like, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to pursue being an entrepreneur, that's great. That's a positive. But everybody isn't cut out to be an entrepreneur. Everybody doesn't want to be an entrepreneur. You can achieve whatever your financial goal, even if you want to retire early, by working at your career, being meticulous and strategic with your money, your savings, your investment. And, if you just want to invest, you can do that. If you want to have property, you can do that. But there's a lot of avenues to go. I'm just not a big fan of, oh, you should be your own boss, and all that stuff is great, but everyone isn't cut out for that. If you've ever had a job that you've done where you worked for yourself, again, there's a difference between being a business owner and a entrepreneur as far as the definition is concerned. And if you're a business owner, you have a business, but you have to go to work to that business to make money. My definition of entrepreneur is, hey, do you have a 3 to 6 month entrepreneurship emergency fund? What that means is I cannot do anything for 3 to 6 months, and all of my streams of income will continue to come in. So there's definitely that delineation. But I think a lot of times in the fire movement, we kind of like W-2 and employer employee shame people. And there's nothing wrong with having a job that you like, or a job that you are utilizing to make and further your financial goals. Everyone's not cut out to be an entrepreneur, to be their own boss. Some people just want to work, enjoy what they do because it provides a good form of income, and invest in their 401k. So that's just kind of point number three. We're not going to job shame people. And you can tend to see that a lot in the fire movement. But you got to realize, if you retire from one job, 90% of the time, you're not going to do just anything and sit on your ass and watch the Maury show all day. Do people even still watch Maury? Did that still come on? But more likely than not, you're going to gain some other form of employment, whether you're creating content, whether you're working part time, whether you're starting your own law firm or practice, or a consulting business or something to that effect. I think the other point number four, is we have to really understand the concept and the term 401k millionaire. Statistically, and I actually look it up, I'll probably link the article or throw it up on the screen somewhere. But statistically, during the pandemic, the number of 401k millionaires increased exponentially. I think it was somewhere between 17 to 22%, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I'll post the article up or the video or either put a link in the description box below. But with that being said, is as for me, I know the way to financial freedom for me. I would say probably 50 to 65% of that is going to come through my 401k. Your 401k with your employer, most times you'll get a match. So if you contribute 5%, they'll contribute 5% again. And we also know that the contributions you can make to your employer's 401k is a lot greater than the contributions you can make to a Roth IRA. You can only contribute $6,000 a year currently to a Roth IRA versus your employer's 401k has two, three, four times, almost four times the limit that you can contribute to each year. So there are a lot of 401k millionaires out there. These are people who don't have 65,000 streams of income, as we're always taught, and they just do it the consistent, the steady way by working, consistently saving, consistently investing in growth stock mutual funds or through their employer's 401k, and that grows and that hits $1 million. So fire is definitely a great thing. If you want to retire early, that's great because honestly, statistically, the average person doesn't retire till 67 or later. So if you actually retire at 62, you're retiring earlier than a large population, a large percentage of the population. And so, if fire is something that you want to do, you should really be realistic about what fire is and what it means to you because it's different for everybody. Some people, their concept of fire is being able to retire early and, live on minimalist or below minimalist budget and lifestyle, and they're just happy. That's cool. I'm not doing no minimalist shit. Pardon my language, but that's just not what I envision as my retirement. And I think the other thing that you have to realize when we talk about the fire movement, like I said, a lot of times the fire movement, that conversation just sparks a lot of disdain towards that W 2 job because a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of people hate their job. They don't like their job. But then you also have to think what brings you financial freedom. For me, it's not more so my career, okay? Because I'm gonna be honest, I can do any type of work as long as I feel comfortable for the compensation that I'm getting for that job. As long as I'm in my mind, I feel like I'm adequately compensated for what I'm doing, I would be happy with the job. So for me, it's not necessarily a job that would piss me off and say, I can't wait to leave here. It's the circumstances and the financial obligations that could potentially block me from getting my goal. So let's say I have a job and I'm like, man, I hate that job. When you have a lot of debt and you're working to pay off a lot of debt, you hate your job a lot more because the income you get from that job is constantly going out, going out, going out to satisfy obligations of your creditor, obligations for your car loan, obligations for your student loan, obligations from that Peloton machine that you wanted to buy during the pandemic, where you could have bought Peloton stock for the same price and tripled or quadrupled your money. And so, I think you have to really put it in perspective. Is the point of you wanting to do the fire movement? Is it based on you hating your job? Is it based on you wanting to spend more time with your family? Is it based not on I hate my job, but I hate my job because I'm so over leveraged in debt I'm working for nothing because I'm paying everybody else and making everybody else rich. So again, the fire movement is a great thing. I think it's something that people should pursue. I think when you decide to go down that road to whatever variation of fire that you want to achieve, you just really have to put some thought into what your game plan is. And you have to understand statistically if you retire at an early age, what are some of the cons of doing that? Because everything isn't always positive, even though, oh man, retiring early sounds really positive, but there are some cons to it and things that you have to consider. So, hey, I'm not knocking anybody's hustle. If you're on your fire journey, I'm on a journey. I don't know. It may be a fire journey. It may not be a fire journey. As for me, I just don't like having the obligations. I can all like I said earlier, I can always go to work. It's just For me, my goal is the peace of mind going to work, knowing that, well, if something happened and they kicked me out and said, well, your services are no longer needed or y'all got on my nerves, I could leave and be okay. That's kind of where my peace of mind is. And so that's kind of my variation. I don't have a real fire thing. I have some numbers and some goals that I want, but for me it's all about, I enjoy the productivity of my job that I bring. I feel like I'm doing a good service when I do go to work. So it's not necessarily I hate my job type of thing as it relates to me personally. But hey, the fire movement is good. Find out what you want to do, know your numbers. As always, you always got to weigh the pros versus the cons and evaluate it so you can make sure that you have your plan in place. I just wanted to bounce some of the things that kind of annoy me about the fire movement as I've been doing my research and watching videos and reading up on it. As always, y'all take care. Have a good one. Y'all have a great holiday, a happy Thanksgiving. I'm actually going to drop a video tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting video. We're going to talk about getting utilities cut off. I don't know if y'all ever been there, but I'm going to tell y'all a story. It's going to be a little story time while Chef Debt Free Dad is in the kitchen whipping it up like the Migos. I'll talk to y'all later. Take care. Be blessed. Bye. Yo, if you're still tuned in, check out the videos for more content related to my family's financial freedom journey and where we're talking finance. And if you haven't, definitely hit that circle on the right hand side of the screen so you can get subscribed to the channel and catch more content.